As of the most recent update, that is the 4 p.m. Central Standard Time update from the National Hurricane Center, Hurricane Ida has continued to strengthen. I will show some radar pictures here in a moment that shows how beautifully set in a powerful storm, natural beauty way. Let's get that straight. But anyway, it's quite a natural wonder to see the radar presentation of the storm. I'll show that in a minute. But the storm, Hurricane Ida, has strengthened a bit already since the last video I did, the last update, the intermediate, just an hour or two ago. She is 6 miles per hour away from being a Category 3 storm. She has strengthened to winds of 105 miles per hour, moving northwest at 16 miles per hour. However, this is the intermediate 4 o'clock update, and there is definitely signs there is a more northwesterly movement now, so it's more of a trend, I think you could say at this point. Ryan Mason in Mississippi, we were just talking about this. He's tracking it on the Mississippi Gulf Coast. He's got some weather gurus over there, some people on the inside that indicate it's been a kind of a day-long trend, and the cones may shift because of it. So we'll see, but let's take a look at what's going on here and see where this storm is tracking right now. Such a beautiful sight. Again, just a beautiful evening. Nothing really stirring at this point. It's very deceptive, and I love this word deceptive. And I was just chatting with one of you guys in comments, and the young lady indicated that the calm before the storm, it's so deceptive. You know, it lures you into thinking that, you know, this huge natural beast is just right offshore. But it's not going to be that bad because it's so nice. Yes, it is very deceptive because things will turn. We'll see how bad it does turn, but it does look like it will be a little more interesting here than was projected earlier today, as it has trended a little bit more east of that current cone. So our house is set up on stilts, 16 feet up. This is one of my weather trees that has stood the test of time. This is my trusty palm. I haven't named her yet. We should come up with a name for her. But usually when it gets really bad, I'll stand up there under the deck. But when it gets too bad to where I can't even stand there, I'll get, you know, as far under the house as I can and film. And I use my cell phone, so sometimes it gets soaked in water and it'll say I can't charge it because the port is wet or something. And that's about the beginning of the end of my videos until the aftermath videos the following day. But when that tree gets a storm that's decent, I mean, it bows. I mean, it's bowed over. I had another palm here that got kicked sideways during Sally, so she's got the lean. I'll move the truck, and I have an old truck. I love my old truck. But anyway, manual transmission. But this tree got kicked sideways during Sally, so that's the lean from her. But she stands the test of time too. Lost that one during Sally. That one got leaned over. These two were pretty well protected, or these three rather. But anyway, so got most of the construction stuff out of the yard. As much as I could anyway, but I'm willing to guarantee that if we get the new storm surge update, which is now even more for coastal Louisiana, 10 to 15 feet, then I'm willing to bet that we have water across from the canal, through the yard, into the driveway, across the other side. I don't know the depth of it. A mild tropical storm last year, I forget the name, check the playlist, but I was wading in water out here in my yard, and it wasn't even that bad of a storm. It just was a slow-moving tropical storm that made landfall at high tide. But anyway, let's take a look at some graphics. By the way, during Sally, the whole side of the house was blown off. The corner of the house here was completely ripped off. Some nice little gusts coming through right now. The calm before the storm. We still have the wires from our satellite to the television and to the computer. It's not even put in yet or installed because there's still a lot of the underside of the roof and siding that they still have to do. So that's how fresh the wounds are from Sally. The wind comes out of the northeast here, and it comes through brutal. So it'll whip from that area where the clouds are in the distance and whip straight to this corner. Boom, and just pound that side. And during Sally, the whole side blew off, and we had to go. Then the ceilings collapsed from the inside, so it was uninhabitable. We couldn't live in it. So lost everything. So hopefully that doesn't occur again. Okay, the latest infrared radar loop. This storm is becoming massive. You can see the defined eye wall right here. Center of circulation is letting it be known that it is venting. In other words, we have a really nice tall storm. The eye is venting, and it's wobbling now because of just the absolute power that this storm is packing. Now, I mentioned just a minute ago that it was trending to the north-northwest and not just to the northwest. So northwest being this way, okay? North-northwest being this way, okay? Or even more of a north-north west. So north is obviously this way, okay? So how this storm has kind of been reacting, at least for the gist of the past 4 to 6 hours, has been from what was northwesterly to more of a north-northwesterly. So that is something that can change everything. Again, the little things make a big difference when tracking these storms. This could mean, if this is just one little hiccup and wobble and now it stays on this course, then this is really bad for New Orleans. It's awful for New Orleans. But if this thing were to continue to wobble, you know, it could be a really bad thing for Ryan. What's up, Ryan Mason and Mike Etter and Moss Point in Pascagoula, Mississippi? They're there doing the same thing. And they may have a really, really, really bad go of it. So these wobbles are everything at this point. Right now, the storm is about 290 miles south-southeast of the mouth of the Mississippi River. These feeder bands, these outside feeder bands right here, are only about 70, 80 miles off of the tip of Grand Isle, Venice, Louisiana area right there. So I would say those feeder bands, based upon movement northwest at 16, you know, they'll be on shore, you know, early wee morning hours tomorrow morning, putting me at daybreak here. Again, I am where this little blue dot is here, Dauphin Island. I don't know if you can see that, but you know where it is. I'm up there. So those feeder bands on this trajectory should be meeting me about the same time. So again, at daybreak, I'll be up and out in it and film as long as I can until A, my cell phone runs out, B, my cell phone service runs out, or D, we have to evacuate. Anyway, let's take a look at a few more things. All right, another glimpse at the local Doppler radar that comes from our local news, WPMI 15. Just spend a second on this. I talked about it a little while ago. The northwestern movement, towards the bottom of the track, it's more northwest, right? So pan up, and you can see the trend is more north-northwest here. So what will happen is at around 7 o'clock p.m., I think, Central Standard Time, we'll get the next segment of this path. So hopefully it'll be, you know, somewhere a little bit further up so we can tell if this is just a wobble or just a trend. If it's a trend, then it's more than likely these cones will shift a little bit, but it's so close, it doesn't have a long way that it can deviate. But nonetheless, it still has some room to travel. So if you look at the eastern side of the storm, and it were to travel along this kind of northeasterly ridge, things can be a lot different in terms of impacts. And I'm not saying that's going to happen, but you just have to be prepared that it's going to happen because it's happened so many times over the years. And historically, cones tend to be off no matter what. This one has been great, almost too perfect. And maybe it will remain that way, but I think we have to watch that trend to more of a little bit more of an easterly trajectory, and also the impacts being a little bit farther towards the east that are going to have the most significant impacts. The updated storm surge forecast, especially alarming, is the uptick here. Earlier, that was 7 to 11 feet. The 4 to 7 feet on the eastern side of the storm wasn't pushing all the way over to us in Dauphin Island. It was kind of right ending at kind of the Gulfport and Pascagoula area. So it shifted over a little bit to the east. But nonetheless, I said it would be 4 to 7 here anyway, because we are a barrier island, and the Gulf and the Gulf of Mexico. But this is alarming. So the storm surge of 10 to 15 feet, oh my. Some of these areas that are outside of the city or New Orleans don't have levees and are just openly exposed to walls of water. So there's no way you could stay there with 10 to 15 foot of storm surge. That would take water over the pilings that a lot of these houses sit on down in that neck of the woods down there, Homa and Morgan City. Anyway, 4 to 7 feet of storm surge here, even on low tide, will be a significant water event. So we will be watching that closely. A look at the live Doppler radar, and this is current. So this is the current loop, not a forecast loop. This is present, so I have it zoomed in a little bit. So this is the first line of feeder bands. This is about 70 miles from the outer tip of Louisiana, Grand Isle, Louisiana, the mouth of the Mississippi River. Fort Morgan is, or Morgan City is over here. Fort Morgan is a place over here in Gulf Shores. I am where the blue dot is. I have Mike Etter in Pascagoula, Ryan Mason in the Moss Point area. So these storms are moving right now on the current trajectory to the north-northwest and not directly northwest. Anyway, we're going to start feeling impacts here if my calculations are correct, somewhere around daybreak, somewhere around sunrise. So what I'll do is I will phase out making videos tonight after the 7 p.m. update, try to get some rest. I know at nights where I know a hurricane is going to be knocking on the door in the morning, sometimes it's tough for me to sleep. I get kind of excited about it. Again, I enjoy doing it. Again, not a professional, but I just have a lot of years of my life being around it, and some mentors in my life were meteorologists in college. Anyway, long story short, these are close to shore. The high tide will be in the morning at somewhere around 3 o'clock in the morning, and then the high tide on Monday will be at around 4 o'clock Monday morning. So we're going to have 2 high tide cycles with onshore flow. So there's going to be a storm surge, so hopefully it's just not too terribly bad. But I'll do one more video tonight in terms of updates and tracks and so forth. And then in the morning, we don't have to worry about the tracks anymore because she's here, and we'll be sticking with the actual weather itself as long as I can do so. Again, everybody, I really hope you guys stay safe and just follow the track, because just a few miles can make a big difference. Once again, the weather heron has showed up. I had to come down and get him. I think a lot of you wanted to name him Gilligan. For those of you that follow my weather videos, every time an ominous storm comes around, this heron comes. Can you see him? I don't want to scare him and make him fly away, but every time he comes. There he is. He's here. What's up, buddy? What's up, Gilligan? So he has a good sense of it. It's uncanny. I figured he would come, and there he is. By the way, how do I forecast wind, or how do I guess what the wind speed is? So I have an anemometer, and I've had it for a while. There's not much wind out here right now, but this is how I tell you how fast the wind is blowing, and not necessarily what the buoys are offshore. Here on the island, again, we're out in the Gulf, and a lot of people don't understand that, you know, live in Mobile and don't live here, or live in, you know, coastal areas but just a little bit inland, how bad it gets on barrier islands during hurricanes. Mainland, let's say coastal Mississippi, coastal Louisiana, coastal Alabama, Florida, those areas that have barrier islands in front of them are much more protected from the elements. Dauphin Island protects the Mobile mainland and some of the Mississippi coast. Part of the West End, if I remember correctly, stretches into Mississippi waters. Correct me if I'm wrong on that. But ultimately, it's going to be one of those rough goes. Out here, it's very difficult. Even a strong thunderstorm is much different here than it is just across that bridge. Anyway, take care, everyone. Much love to you. I'll do my last tracking video at around 7 p.m. I'm going to crash early. Hopefully, if I can sleep, I get excited about it. And I'll get up early, get my only shower of the day tomorrow before I spend all day out in it. And it should be a pretty good storm. Again, we want everybody to be safe. Stay indoors, shelter yourself. Again, I just have a passion for it, but I don't want anybody hurt or property be lost. I know the feeling. We lived in a church. We were blessed to be there, but we had nowhere to go when we lost this house less than a year ago, and I don't want to lose our house again. So don't forget to subscribe. Thanks so much for watching. Much love to all of you. Thanks for the comments. It keeps me motivated and going. You know, sometimes you get a little trash talk and people that don't like it, but I do my best to ignore it or just delete it. So the magical question is it trending more easterly, or is it just a wobble to the east? We'll know more a little bit later, but ultimately tomorrow is another day. Nice little gust there. Tomorrow is another day, and these blue skies actually just off to my distance in this direction. Maybe I can stand this way and you can see the kind of the cloud tops in the distance. But if it's a trend, then we'll have much more significant impacts where I am. If it's not a trend, and then not much change. But anyway, we will see. Don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you for one last tracking update a little bit later, and then at daybreak or shortly thereafter for some first weather footage of the day. So take care. Thanks for watching. Much love to all of you. I really mean that. Thanks so much. Take care. See ya.